What's up, guys? It's Red Bull. I'm coming back to you guys today with a video on WoW. I'd like to start off by saying that my intent with this video is to share my process of choosing the 4 characters that I'll be taking into Shadowlands. I'm a player who hasn't had the opportunity to play on the beta at all this go around, unfortunately. That's okay. I've still done some testing on the PTR, and I of course keep up with all kinds of videos on YouTube to try and get information and make an educated guess, to say the least, on my 4 characters going into Shadowlands. Now, my 4 characters, I'm picking 4 characters because of the 4 covenants. That's essentially it. From what I've heard, alts won't be difficult to maintain, and so I'd like to experience all 4 storylines of the 4 covenants. So there it is. There's a few other things I take into account: cosmetics when choosing my 4 characters in the covenants. I also take into account where they're at during the tuning phase and whatnot. As it stands right now, this will be my 4. If Shadowlands were to go live right now, this would be the 4 that I'd be going live with. So without further ado, we'll jump into my first pick. Now, by no means is this my main pick, but Shaman. Kind of had my eye on them the entire time since Alpha. This is my main character that I've had over the course of the past few expansions. Really enjoy Elemental Shaman. Love them to death, and they're extremely similar to what they are on retail and what they have been in the past couple expansions. They play very similar. They do have a few new quirky things. Ascendance casts Lava Burst on all of your flame shot targets when used. That's provided for a lot of interesting things going on in PTR and beta right now. Also, though, just echoing shock and throwing in a Stormkeeper right after that, you get those double Stormkeeper chain lightnings. You can get 2 earthquakes down off the bat. If you had, I don't know if you can take aftershock with that. I don't believe you can, unfortunately. But yeah, Shaman's looking okay in terms of tuning. Their covenant abilities are 3 of them seem to all be very similar. It's just AoE heals, AoE damage. They just come in different forms. Of course, the Necrolord covenant option is going to be Primordial Wave, which has just moved to instant cast. So that added Necrolord back onto the table for my Shaman. What I'm looking at right now in terms of covenants for the Shaman is Kyrian and Necrolord. That choice is based on the strength for the Shaman. I'm using the popular Google sheet that's going around to some extent, reading around the forums. But Necrolord and Kyrian will be, as it stands, one of the 2 covenants that I'll pick for the Shaman. But yeah, overall, I'm just happy with the Shaman. It's not changing a whole lot, so it's familiar, but it is what it is. It may not be my first, second, or third character to level, but I will be leveling it. All right. We'll go ahead then. We'll jump over to another pick of mine, if I can find him here, the Boomkin. As you see in the background here, I haven't had a lot of time to play around with Boomkin, unfortunately. I've played a little bit. I have messed around on retail with it as well, doing some stuff, and I know it's still I don't want to say vastly, but it's significantly different from what it is on retail. There have been some changes to the eclipses. I personally prefer them. I think this spec's going to be great for dot cleave RBGs. Might be good for 3 arenas. Don't quote me on that one. And I'd like to see it in dungeons and just places that it can really use the multi-dotting and the cleave aspect of its toolkit. But I mean, the Boomkin, this was my one of my original mains. This is where my name came from, in fact. So extremely excited. One of the big things, funny enough, that I'm a Tauren Boomkin. I missed the old Moonkin model. I'm also madly in love with blonde hippie Taurens. So there's I don't just limit it to power factors or flavor of the month or strictly cosmetic. I like to tie in a bunch of different things to make my choices. So we went with the Tauren Boomkin. But yeah, Boomkin's going to be fine. Really looking forward to using this in RBGs if for some reason my next pick isn't as strong. But nonetheless, just haven't had a ton of time with Boomkin, but I still think it's going to be great. Before we actually jump into what I wanted to talk about, which will be my main, I'll hop over to DK real quick. DK is shaping up to be kind of in the same, kind of in the bottom tier of my 4. It'll either be the 3rd or 4th character I level. DKs are shaping up to be super strong going into Shadowlands here. Tons of abilities added back. Unholy's rotation and the pets and everything looks super cool. Let me jump back real quick to the Boomkin. Kind of mirrors my Shaman in terms of covenants. I'm going to be picking either Necrolord or Kyrian for Boomkin. I know a lot of people right now say that Vinther's best, but I have that saved for something else, unfortunately. So, but yeah, back to the DK. DK, it's the one melee spec really that I'll be playing, either Unholy or Frost. I'll dabble around with some tanking, of course, with Blood, because I'm not a big fan of bear tanking, but mainly Frost and Holy. More so going to be a PvP character, I'd have to say. I might do some dungeons. I do not see myself raiding with Death Knight, just because I enjoy the ranged DPS aspect in raids. But yeah, the DKs are rocking for PvP and whatnot. So in terms of Covenant for the DK, I'm going to be picking Night Fae. That's pretty much set in stone. Gonna be Night Fae. I love the blue Death and Decay. I love their transmog, the plate transmog. I think it looks unbelievable on an undead model. So I'm gonna be going an undead DK. And oddly enough, I'm one of the rare few people that's waiting to level my DK, create my DK in fact, until pre-patch. I'm gonna be leveling with a buddy, and so I don't want to have that level advantage on him. But yeah. Not Shadow Priest, but Boomkin DK, both kind of not sure where to put them right now, just based on tuning, but they are part of the group. Now, of course, we'll transition on over to my main pick, Shadow Priest. Lots of people hopping on board the Shadow Priest train. I myself am. Main reasoning because I've never played a priest as a main character and never really played one at max level, just due to personal reasons. Didn't enjoy them, but with the changes to Shadow Priest, the fact that it can clump AoE, it can dot cleave AoE, cleave AoE to some extent, and it can also single target very well. It's got loads of utility for PvP. It's got insane utility, insane CC chain. It's got anything for everything. It has an answer for every situation, and I enjoy that. They also, my biggest bump against them in the past has been that they've just been very squishy, and just given that we're getting a new 2-minute personal CD, still got dispersion. From the looks of it, a lot of bonus heals just coming from your damage rotation, similar like a DK or something, who knows. So that's really cool. I'm just super excited to play the Shadow Priest overall, coming in Shadowlands. But and then of course, Vinthyr. As it stands, Vinthyr will be my pick for Shadow Priest. Mind Games, I'm really hoping it shapes up well for PvE, but it is so strong in PvP that it's kind of a no-brainer. Now, of course, this character is this is the most difficult character to make choices for, because I will be trying to play all forms of content, rated arenas, rated battlegrounds, dungeon, mythic plus dungeons, raids, trying to hit everything with this character. Now, of course, just with time constraints, I might not be able to, and I might just shift my alts into PvP mode, maybe the Shadow Priest into raiding mode, who knows. But we'll see where it goes. As it stands, I'm hoping to dabble in a little bit of everything with the Shadow Priest. So Vinthyr seems at the moment a strong choice for that. But and of course, I also took into consideration. I was considering Kyrian. I was also considering Necrolord for the Shadow Priest. Necrolord right now for a lot of classes and specs doesn't seem to be doing so great. I heard there's something in the works for a specific, at least a priest, in terms of Necrolord. So maybe we'll see. But I wasn't a fan of their cloth transmog, which kind of turned me away as well. Kyrian. Kyrian's cloth transmog was okay. It